Welcome to Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zaley's Desk special. Join us as we dive into the topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. Whether you're here for yourself, your loved ones, or for educational and professional insights, this is for you. We start our conversation with clear, understandable terminology. While we use disfigurement, it's for medical and legal clarity. We acknowledge you may relate to terms like visible difference or your own diagnoses. All our presenters have lived experience or work with people living with facial disfigurement. Curious to know more? So are we. Pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zaley's Desk special.
G'day, and I'm your host, Dr. Zaley O'Day again, and this is our third, would you believe, part 3 of talking and having a chat around Dr. Zaley's desk with Zoe A. Cross. Now, I'm going to bring Zoe on, and whilst I do that, we've chatted about Mebius syndrome. We've chatted about the challenges, including some eye surgeries, and we've chatted about last time in part 2, we chatted about a beautiful life-transforming issue, which was being kissed at 41 years of age when you'd just given up all hope and thought, this is me, I'm it, this is where it's going, this is who I am, I'm happy in myself. And then you went, oh my God, he kissed me. And he kissed me. I could go on to sing. And we could go on to be karaoke. And we like karaokeing, so that's great. So, Zoe, how are you?
I am having so much fun here, Dr. Zaley. It's so amazing. How to have fun on a Saturday morning?
Yeah. Or evening. Anyway, that's okay. Without alcohol. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Completely without.
Oh dear. So, do you have anything pressing? Would you like to chat about anything in particular? Have you got a bone to pick with society? Have you got a takeaway that they'd like to do? Have you got the most embarrassing moment? What do you find challenging? What?
Oh my God, that's already giving me 5 different stories. But I think, and this is what we're like. This is why I love chatting with you. But I'm just thinking, because I'm feeling a bit angry. There's something that's a bit angry, a bit sad, and about something, and it's at the moment because I've just witnessed this with 2 people I know who I know in my friends here in Germany who have just recently not been able to claim their value. They are in the process of doing it. One of them has a facial difference or disfigurement. She has facial paralysis like I do. And the other one is also, let's say, from a minority. So, and she's from a minority, let's say, in that she comes from another country. So she's an immigrant into Germany, as I am as well. But yeah, so I think that's what I sort of like to talk about, this claiming your value, but also being underestimated, especially as somebody with a disfigurement, a facial difference.
So what words do you identify with? Because identify is one of those big, huge buzzwords these days.
Yeah.
What words do you identify with, Zoe?
I identify with facial difference. If somebody says it's a facial disfigurement, then that's fine. If that is easier for people to understand, because I love the way we call a spade here. because it's about other people understanding.
Yes.
I identify with facial difference because for me, I don't know, facial disfigurement is about something not being in the right place, or the so-called right place. And I think that's not really, but you can, not really the case, but you could also say, well, this side of my mouth is not where it should be. So
No,
I don't
it's definitely not. But it's exactly where it should be on your face.
Thank you. So yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you come about to get your value? Because before, when we were just chatting a little bit offline, you were talking about having had some support in order to be able to be maybe doing what you're doing now, or having a bit of coaching or something like that. Because to go from being able to have a chat, and thank you very much for allowing me to make you feel comfortable, or having this beautiful conversation, and where we're, chatting about each other, and you're feeling comfortable to self-disclose about your your lifestyle and your experiences, but lots of people living with visible difference or facial disfigurement, or Mebius or third nerve palsy, they're not quite there yet. They might be in the angry denial stage, if they're, or they're not quite sure where they fit in the world. So thanks to maybe some COVID, that's enabled them to keep hidden and maintain a distance, when, distance doesn't necessarily bring the heart fonder. It doesn't actually bring friends. It doesn't actually do much, except for maybe, I don't know, my opinion at this moment in time, just off the top of my head, it's kind of like maybe building a safe zone around ourselves. So therefore, but what I think about the safe zone is that, yes, it keeps us safe, but it doesn't let other people in or us out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is this is let's say, yeah, to me it sounds like a coping mechanism, or and this is something I talk about a lot, or have experienced a lot, in order to grow. So it can be seen as a coping, but also, real talk here, can be seen as a avoidance mechanism. But it can also and I mean, I've done so much in the last couple of years this about outside my comfort zone, and so this can be a safety zone, comfort zone. And I always say or think, and I can say from experience, that growth happens often outside of our comfort zones.
So how did you get from being in that cozy, safe zone to being able to have a conversation with me and basically self-disclose lots of different beautiful, fascinating stories that you are so readily being vulnerable and open about? So thank you very much.
Ooh, I mean, it's been a journey. I mean, because this adventure in Ireland, this love and romantic adventure in Ireland, that in itself is now about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
for our viewers that haven't done part two, please go back to part two. But Zoe's actually talking about her first kiss in Ireland at the age of ripe, beautiful, precious age of 21 plus, I don't know how many, but it's 41 years of age. thought, oh my God, this is it. This is who I am. I'm happy to be by myself. And then he kissed me. He kissed me. Anyway, yep, keep going. So 10 years ago, after that life-changing event, you've decided that you're going to go from your safety zone to find out, because you were curious, if I remember, that word was curious.
That was the thing. That was it.
And then how did that lead you to get out of your comfort zone, out of that coping mechanism of, I don't know, I'm putting words in your mouth, please make sure that I don't, I'm enough, to I'm curious, I wish I can, what can I do outside of my comfort zone?
Yeah. What I would like to say, I mean, the curiosity was key. Curiosity was it. That was my way out, because I didn't really know about, at the time, I didn't really know about comfort zone, growth zones, all these things. I wasn't really aware of that at the time. I don't think, but I just thought, this is an interesting experience, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to find out if I don't try. And that was literally the mindset I had. And with hindsight, I was then, so then a couple of, because things really got in motion once that experience had happened. So once I'd had this first kiss, which of course I didn't know was coming, but once...
How'd you get to kiss me back?
And I kissed her back, and I thought, oh wow, this is actually amazing. This is crazy. Literally, what, floating on cloud nine. I remember coming back to Germany and floating on cloud nine, seriously.
Yeah.
And then of course other things happened. So then I went back, and then eventually I said goodbye to him.
Yeah.
And then, let's say about a year later, I met the guy who is now in the next room. I'm actually at his apartment this weekend. And we've been together for 9 years.
Beautiful.
Which is a story in itself. And it was actually about a year into our relationship that I think life caught up with me. I have to be careful because not to lose my train of thought, but life caught up with me, and life caught up with him as well, because we've both been through a lot in the preceding 2 or 3 years. And we both really had some successes, but both of us also gone way outside our comfort zones. And meeting each other as well was, so for both of us, it was our first long-term relationship. So both of us were in our 40s, and it was our third sort of fling, affair, whatever. But it was our first long-term relationship. And so that in itself was growth, and sort of, what do I do? How do I cope with this? And that was huge. And and then I had some challenges at the same time at work. And these challenges at work, and so everything was happening. Really everything. My whole life was in sort of
chaos,
turmoil, chaos, yes. And so I was ill and he had some illness as well. And it was, and actually, and also while all of this was going on, I was also getting a coaching qualification. Now I think, how the hell did I do all of this? But because there were these challenges at work as well, and I was starting to question, if people are going to beat me this way at work for all the stuff, all the hard work I've done in this company over the years, maybe it's time for me to get a second income, or to find a way out of this company, or no longer be 100% dependent on my income from this company. And I mean, now I look back, and the thread or the theme that I see for the last 10 years was that I realized, okay, it's really possible to find a very loving partner. So, and eventually I realized, well, if it's possible that, I wasn't conscious of this, but if it's possible to do that, I started experimenting with other things and getting more radical, trying other things, completely new, unsafe things, like becoming a freelance translator or becoming a freelance coach. And then, of course, I started understanding as a coach myself, and then actually a business or building several businesses and starting a movement. So I realized there was a lot of support that I needed, and I became much more aware of curiosity is the key. For me, curiosity is the key to overcoming fear. Or it was the key.
So whilst you've been talking, I'm thinking that in the last few years, when everything was tumultuous, that you had experienced a metamorphosis experience of everything was going to pot, everything was upside down, inside out, back to front, around about, both emotionally, physically, relationally, and work-wise. I mean, that's besides the spiritual bit, that's the whole lot. That's the whole lot of life, really. And then you've come out, and then you've waited to dry your wings, and now you've able to chat from a value perspective, because you are valuing yourself through curiosity, which you say expels fear or dispels fear.
That's a lovely simile. And it's funny because we're going to have a visitor shortly, and she commented, she was my partner's, also interesting, Juicy, first so-called girlfriend or first affair. Still meet every so often, and I mean, I've met her, she's like a friend now. And she recently said to me, that when she first met me, so probably 8-9 years ago, when she first met me, of course, I was of course more in the background because those two knew each other, and I was sort of getting to know her. And said to me about last year something like, when I first met you, you were like this kind of wallflower, and today it's literally this kind of metamorphosis. And I thought, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, thank you, I think.
Having said that, I was quite hurt at the time, because I thought, I don't think I was a wallflower at the time, because I'm not a wallflower if you go to Ireland on your own several times to meet some guy. Although you are scared, that is not something that a wallflower does. No. But that was kind of hurtful at the same time. But we sort of discussed it, and I thought, okay. And I thought it was she reminded me of this comment the other day, and I thought, thank you for reminding me, because it was so key, because it about this thing that I see so much, that society underestimates us. People with minorities generally, and people with a facial disfigurement, facial difference in particular.
Yep. Did you know that, just by the by, the academic world have actually found that we have an implicit negative bias towards people living with facial disfigurement. That's what the evidence research has found.
Right.
So when I saw that and when I heard that, I did a bum wiggle, wiggle, bum wiggle, wiggle. I was like, woo! Eureka! We already know that, but at least we already know that. But, it's just validating our own experiences, because I'm not quite sure about you, but people have said to me in the past, and don't you think that you've got a chip on your shoulder? Don't you think that you see things, through yellow, rose-colored glasses? And did you not think that they may not be staring at you? And it's like, wow, bloody hell! I've had nearly 7 years of knowing the difference between when people staring rudely and when people are staring curiously, and when staring happens when they're not, when they're concerned and you need to break the ice and all that sort of stuff. Oh dear me. It was just a wonderful research paper to have found and to have written about.
I can totally relate to that, because I know, don't take it too seriously. I mean, these are the comments. So I was shut up. I was told, don't talk about it, because it's not that important. It's not that important. You'll just see things. Get over it. Whatever.
Build a bridge.
Highly sensitive.
Yeah. Oh, don't you love that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's, it's all in her head. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that she wears her heart on the sleeve too much, or the flip side of that is that she's too bloody angry. We don't know why she's angry.
Yes. So it's so good.
Yeah.
So good to be validated now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I think and it literally, so in the same year, actually, in this, let me get my figures. Oh, no, in the same year that I met this guy, actually in the spring, I met him in the spring, and a week later, strange synchronicity, in the week later, I went to my first get-together with the Media Foundation, and that was, so I met him, and next weekend, I met other people with media syndrome for the first time.
Yeah.
At 41.
Yeah. At 40 something or other years of age, I actually met a little, I think he was under 2. He was at McDonald's with his family, and he just looked like me. And that was the very first time in my 40s too. So I was in my 40s too. That, I mean, I couldn't talk to him, obviously, but I tried to talk to his parents, and his parents at that time were, I believe, might have been still in denial and that sort of thing, and swallowing the lie. The greater the disfigurement, the greater the distress, and so minimizing what may be apparent later on, and minimizing your child's, for anyone else listening, minimizing your child's experiences is not necessarily a healthy thing to do. And also minimizing your own experiences is not necessarily a healthy thing to do. So please seek help, and from a person who's got lived experience, or a person who's been trained with a person living with with experience, in order to be able to help you help your child. I don't know how that's working, but anyway, hallelujah. It's all right. It's very pertinent, really. So Yeah. So it was, yeah. So what I'm saying is that minimizing your experience, regardless of whether or not you're a parent with a child with a facial disfigurement, or whether or not you yourself have a facial disfigurement. Do you agree, Zoe, that minimizing it is not necessarily the best healthy thing forward?
I am on the fence. It's tricky. It's a tricky topic because on the one hand, it is very, very valuable and necessary for a person to be able to talk to somebody. And when I say somebody, just as you said, it needs to be somebody who's got experience. Either, just as you said, they need to have this experience either themselves or from somebody themselves has this experience. Um, said that, um, having said that, I am very grateful to my parents in that they it's a fine line, and I don't know where the line is, but they treated me basically no different to my siblings, and yet they all three siblings, all three children, were very different. Treated me as best they could. That they supported me, they encouraged me to do what they saw that I was capable of, and to aspire to things. And in that sense, they saw what I was, and they said, "Oh, maybe you could go in that direction or this direction." And I literally remember my father saying, "Oh, you could do better than that with something else." So, and I thought, yeah. So it's a fine line between being being able and cultivating an open atmosphere to talk about what is really what is a unique experience. Often you have a unique experience inside your family.
Yes.
And try to find ways or discuss ways with your family or with somebody, and ideally with other people in the community nowadays who have had this experience or similar.
Yeah, I think so. So thank you. What is there a take home that you would like our audience to take home before we wrap up and say good night or good afternoon or good evening or whatever it is?
I'm thinking, because something that I love doing with people I work with is sort of looking at their values. And if you can get clear on your personal values, that in itself is going to you cultivate your own self-value. And that in itself will, if you can claim your value, you will educate other people how to treat you. And that's what I would love for everyone here.
Excellent. Oh, thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for your time. And how we could just chat and be around the table and have our cold now cup of tea.
Mine's gone.
Mine's almost. So thank you very much. And I will hang on. I will be doing this and this. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zaley's Desk special. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.